Est-ce qu'il y a des questions?
Est-ce que par rapport aux espèces qui arrivent de l'autre bout du monde, on sait lorsqu'on les ramène par exemple ici et qu'on les implante et qu'elles s'adaptent et qu'elles se naturalisent, je ne sais pas le terme exact, est-ce qu'il y a des phénomènes d'hybridation et qui permettraient donc d'avoir une évolution intraspécifique qui génère de nouveaux végétaux qui seraient peut-être mieux adaptés encore localement?
Du coup, je vais répondre pendant qu'il traduit. Oui, ça peut arriver. Enfin, chez le genre Arbutus, par exemple, une édo a été introduite sur les îles Canaries. Ça a donné un hybride qui s'appelle Arbutus X androsterilis entre une édo et canariensis, qui lui est endémique. Alors, je ne sais pas si c'est dans le milieu naturel, c'est pas forcément une bonne idée parce que ça modifie quand même l'écosystème. Androsterilis pourrait éventuellement prendre la place de canariensis. Par contre, à l'échelle d'un jardin, oui, on peut très bien avoir des mélanges tout à fait intéressants. Par exemple, les chênes, ils se mélangent tous entre eux. Quand on récolte des glands dans un arboretum, 99% du temps, on tombe sur, quand on sème les glands, ce sont des hybrides. Donc, oui, et avec des choses tout à fait intéressantes. Je sais que Rhizophila, par exemple, il s'hybride avec Quercus rubra ou palustris. Ça donne des choses intéressantes, oui. Après, à manipuler avec précaution quand même. Mais...
Dans un contexte de changement climatique, on sait que l'hybridation, c'est souvent le moteur de l'évolution. Et donc, peut-être à contrôler. Il y a la question aussi éventuellement du caractère potentiellement invasif de certaines espèces ou de certains nouveaux hybrides. Mais c'est peut-être aussi une piste qu'il faut travailler. Y a-t-il d'autres questions? Vous vouliez dire un mot about hybridation?
Yes, we should have started maybe 50 years ago. In Italy, while hybridization was done on fruit trees, you know, we have a long tradition of selecting new varieties for fruit production. The improvement of the ornamental, so-called ornamental trees, ornamental shrubs, it's very, very far back in Italy. Most of the trees and shrubs species which are introduced in Italy are on a single person basis. They go outside, they go to Mexico, United States, they go to China, they find some very interesting species and then bring these trees, these shrubs in their own nursery. But this is not the good way to act. We should have a national or maybe European network to select species from, Mexico, Asia, Central Asia, South Africa, Australia, wherever, which are not invasive. I have seen the pictures along the stairs, which are not invasive, but they can have a real potential to be the trees of the future. For example, in the late 1800s, Florence was colonized by the English, and those people brought trees and shrubs from India, from other parts of the world, because to be introduced in their properties, And we still have some trees or shrubs from that time. For example, we have one of the most beautiful Arbutus andracne in Italy, in Florence, which is an historical specimen. It's about 200 years old. It's huge. It's maintained by steel beams because otherwise it will collapse. And it's one of the most beautiful species that I have seen. I don't know why nobody grows it in the nursery. It's impossible to find Arbutus andracne in the nurseries, but it has showed to be very resilient. It's there since the late 1800s, and it's still working. I don't know what happened. We relied in Italy on breeding made in the Netherlands, made in probably the United States or other parts of the world, and we don't breed ourselves.
Est-ce qu'il y a une
Allô?
question?
Allô?
Alors, vous avez le micro?
Oui. Attends, pardon. J'avais le micro et ça marchait pas. Je me permets du coup, Marie Gantois, Ville de Paris. J'ai 3 questions pour Francesco que je me propose de poser en français et en anglais pour faciliter les discussions. Du coup, hello, Marie Gantois from City of Paris. I wanted to ask 3 questions to you, Francesco. Yes.
Okay.
That's fine. La première question, c'est sur la liste des essences que vous avez proposées, les essences adaptées au climat futur. Est-ce que vous pouvez nous en dire plus sur vos sources, en fait, et comment vous avez établi cette liste, donc en anglais. I wanted to know more about the list of the future tree species that you mentioned on your presentation. How did you do that list? What were your sources, and how did you base your reflection, and how did you get that list in the end? And I have 2 more questions, so that can wait, or I can ask them now, whatever you want.
Okay, that list was mainly made on my own experience. I checked some, literature, but mainly on my own experience. I have been lucky to have traveled all over the world, and I have seen trees everywhere, and I have seen tree species and shrubs that can thrive anywhere in the world, others that are very nice in their native range, but they're not working when they're brought in another range. So it's mainly personal experience. I have been working with trees, ornamental trees, since 1994, and so 32 years almost experience. And but I can be wrong. For example, I suggested to plant more than 20 years ago, European ash, Fraxinus excelsior, in Florence, and it was a failure, mostly. It was, as I said before, it gave very good results in the shaded area, but very bad results in the sunny side of the road. Some years ago, 2017, 8 years ago, 2018, I suggested to plant Parrozia in Florence, which was completely absent. Nobody has had at that time Parrozia on the road or in their own garden. But I was a little worried, so I said, let's plant silver linden, Tilia tomentosa, okay, and Parrozia, because I'm not sure if Parrozia will work or not. Now I can say Parrozia worked perfectly, Tilia tomentosa, so. So I was, wrong, but I think I was right to select also a most resilient species. So you never know. That's the main reason. I'm a bit worried because Parrozia, the bud burst, the bud burst of Parrozia very early, mid-February, and sometimes in Florence you can have frost in mid-February, so that can be a danger.
Thank you very much. Donc, retour empirique et connaissance personnelle des arbres. Question numéro 2, c'est vous avez présenté des arbres qui survivent à 50 degrés, certes en étant arrosés. Est-ce que vous pouvez juste nous dire les essences que vous avez observées dans ces conditions? The different trees you showed in 50 degrees temperature in Emirates. Could you tell us the species that they were, even though they were irrigated?
Mostly species which are largely grown in Italy and south of France. Cypress, for example, some fruit trees, Sisyphus, pomegranate, ficus, olive, obviously, almond, thinking about other species, ornamental species, I mean. Carob tree, which is very common in the south of Italy. It thrives everywhere with a very small amount of water. Mainly these ones, yeah.
Thank you very much. Et dernière question sur le recyclage des pots dans les pépinières, les pots en plastique utilisés pour la production horticole. Vous avez parlé de recyclage. Je voulais juste savoir si ces unités de recyclage, elles sont au sein de chaque pépinière ou est-ce qu'il y a une filière organisée de manière régionale, parce que ça nous intéresse aussi sur nos réflexions à la ville de Paris en production horticole. The recycling of pots, you mentioned for production, tree nurseries. Is it locally in each nursery, or is it just a regional thing that all the pots are recycled and then redistributed in each nurseries?
This is a project that was funded by the Italian Nurserymen Association, which is located in Pistoia. So the members of the Italian society, Italian Nurserymen Society, they bring their plastic, their also metal, but mainly plastic in this case, to these recycling plants, and they can get back the pots without paying, an extra tax, which is common in Italy. I don't know, this is a European tax anyway. It's not that high, but if you think about how many millions of pots are used in Pistoia, even if it's 1 cent, if you use 1 million, it means 10,000 euros per year. So if you think of the word in English, ship this plastic to the local recycling plants, you don't pay this tax, which is not that much, but yeah, in terms of number of pots, it can be something. And also from an ecological standpoint, it's very good. You recycle everything. It's not just pot. It's also plastic from our houses, for example. From my houses, I know that some of my plastic will be recycled to produce a container for the nursery production.
Thank you very much.
Any kind of, I should have shown some picture. From very small pots to bigger ones. So.
J'imagine qu'il y a encore plein de questions. On va en prendre une dernière. Tu as choisi quelqu'un. Je suis désolé, on va pas pouvoir prendre toutes les questions parce que il faut qu'on arrive au bout de notre programme. Allez-y.
Okay, so hello, Mister. I just have a question because you talk about like recycling pots and everything like that in nurseries, but do you have any research on like using pesticides, because we know that it's one of the biggest carbon emission in nurseries? So do you have any reflection about that, and do you have something in Italy about that? Thank you.
We have done research now we are doing research. I'm not a pathologist, so there are some others that are dealing with pathogens and also insects. Now we are doing research. We are extracting some active compounds from the pruning material in the nursery, and to use these compounds as an active part for herbicide properties and also fungicide properties. This is obviously a long-term project. What we have seen so far, that some of the extract from Mediterranean plants, mainly Pistachia lentiscus, Arbutus unedo, Myrtus, and so on, they can be used to improve the health of the plants. So sometimes they act directly fungicide or insecticide. Sometimes the plants treated with these natural biostimulants are healthier, and so they can resist, they can tolerate more pathogens and insects and so on. We have had some good results, but we started 2 years ago to do this. It's a long-term project. We have to extract these compounds from these plants and to reuse these compounds in the nursery. So we'll see. But anyway, there are some research also on pathogen. There is a colleague in Florence who is working on, for example, Phytophthora, which is a big problem in the nurseries, and he's having very good results.
Merci à tous les deux, Francesco et James. Il y aura encore énormément de questions à vous poser. Malheureusement, une journée, c'est un peu court.